When Katrina made landfall on August 29th at 6:10, it was one of the strongest hurricanes to ever hit America. The devastation and debris were unimaginable. You had to see it for yourself to fully understand the nature of this storm and the damage done. The terrible force of the storms tossed some of the giant casinos here onto the land. They twisted traffic lights, they ripped some of the beautiful trees from the ground. They stripped the cities of familiar landmarks and buildings. In the days that followed, the people of Mississippi worked together to save lives. People reached out to those who were trapped by rising waters. 3 people were pulled through a window in that house right there to save their lives. People opened their homes to help the suffering. The people of Mississippi said, "We'll overcome this disaster and work together to do so." Since the days of heroism and bravery, the Gulf Coast has begun one of the largest rebuilding efforts in our nation's history. This is my 11th visit since the storm hit. You know, each visit you see progress. I was struck by the beauty of the beaches. Beaches were pretty rough after the storm, as you know. Today, they're pristine and they're beautiful. They reflect a hopeful future as far as I'm concerned. I appreciate the fact that the people down here have embraced this amazing challenge with determination and grit. And your governor's leading the way. He says this, he says, with all its destruction, the storm gave birth to a renaissance in Mississippi that will surely result in building our state bigger and better than ever before. He believes that. A lot of the people in Mississippi believe that, and so do I. A year ago, I committed our federal government to help you. I said we have a duty to help the local people recover and rebuild. And I meant what I said. Working with Thad and Trent Lott and other members of the United States Congress, we have appropriated $110 billion to help rebuild this area. We understand people are still anxious to get in their home. We understand people hear about help and wonder where it is. We know that. But the first thing is that this federal government has made a commitment to help. And it starts with a large check. It also means that in order for the rebuilding to be as strong as we want, there has to be a partnership with the federal government and the state and local governments. Optimism is the only option. We want to help. We want to help that optimism succeed. And so I signed legislation that creates what's called the Gulf Opportunity Zones. That means if you invest in this part of the world, you get tax breaks. In other words, they're using the tax code to say, come and invest your capital here. It's very important for the Congress to extend this legislation. It's important for planners and job creators to know that the incentive we created will still be there. The remarkable things about this part of the world that was so affected by the storms was what happened to the schools. Laura's visited the Gulf Coast 13 times. She's carried the message that a lot of people in America feel, and that is it's important to help children get back to school as quickly as possible, and you've done that. For children who lost everything, their homes, their belongings, and their friends, going to school can be a place where they find stability and a familiar routine. People in Mississippi understood that well. Teachers and community leaders worked hard to get the children back into school as quickly as possible. Catch this. As a result of these efforts, in the past school year, every district closed after Katrina was reopened. It's a remarkable accomplishment by the good folks in this part of the world. Some of the hardest work is still ahead. We'll complete the clearing of the wet debris from the Mississippi Sound. We'll ensure federal money reaches the individuals who need it to build their homes. We'll make sure the schools and libraries are rebuilt better than before. And we'll stand by you as long as it takes to get the job done.